National Heroes Day 2019 celebrations, the official parade and ceremony. I'm your host, Shanta Gallego.
And I'm Farah Gustin from Cayman 27, and we're happy to be broadcasting this live for all of you all that are at home that cannot make it out today.
I want to welcome each and every one of you, our viewing audience. We are live and direct.
Definitely. Trouble keeping my hat on, but I think we're going to do good throughout the rest of the broadcast. But if you still have time to get down here if you're not here, but if not, just sit home and get the comfort of your own home and enjoy the show live today.
This year's ceremony is all about honoring those who have contributed to the creation of the coat of arms. It's a time when our country can come together and reflect upon our proud past and also embrace the future as a united people.
Definitely. And it's just amazing. There's so many people out here already. You know, the weather hasn't really stopped anybody. It's a little bit windy, but it's a really good crowd coming in.
They haven't made the call, so we're going to go on.
We're going to continue on. Definitely. Now, Shonda, excuse me for a second. I just have to readjust my hat again.
Yeah,
because it really is windy out here today.
It is, but we are so happy to be here and to give you all the sights and sounds of today's ceremony. It is rather going to be a significant, unique,
very unique,
different, but momentous occasion here in Hero Square.
And we're celebrating a lot of things today. Not only is it the 60-year anniversary of our coat of arms, but we're also celebrating, I guess, businesses in the community that have been in the community for more than 50 years, which is a great achievement and accomplishment, you know?
Absolutely. And we're also going to be honoring and recognizing our vestrymen and the justices of the peace. So we are actually waiting on the host of dignitaries to arrive, but for now, look at this beautiful display of our uniformed services. Ready, set, to go.
They're ready, and the ceremony should be started in just a few minutes, correct?
That's right. And also, we want to just establish that this year's ceremony is being hosted by the Premier, Honorable Alta McLaughlin, along with Minister for Culture, Honorable Dwayne Seymour, and Celebrate Cayman.
And they have a jam-packed show for us today. I mean, I was just looking through the rundown, and we're going to, it's going to be a lot going on today.
Kafara, trust me, we all want to stay tuned and just pay close attention to this year's program because there are going to be some special highlights and a special tribute is going to be coming up.
Wow, you're not going to tell us who the tribute
No,
is?
I
That's
can't.
just for you guys to continue to tune in, but there will be a special tribute, just as Shonda said. So you don't want to miss it. Just sit back, relax, and just enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good morning, and welcome to the 2019 National Heroes Day celebrations. My name is Marzita Bodden, and I'm the Deputy Executive Chairman of Celebrate Cayman, and I will be your MC for today's proceedings. This year, we will especially honor those involved in the creation of the Cayman Islands coat of arms. I am pleased to announce the arrival of the platform party. Mr. Samuel Rose, Cabinet Secretary. Members of the Legislative Assembly, Mr. Kenneth Bryan. Mr. Christopher Saunders. Mr. Alva Saku, Deputy Leader of the Opposition. Mr. Arden McLean. Honorable Ezard Miller, Leader of the Opposition. Captain Eugene Ebanks, Councillor for Environment and Housing. Ms. Barbara Connolly, Councillor for Education and Youth and Finance and Economic Development. Mr. Austin Harris, Councillor for Human Resources, Immigration and Community Affairs. Please also welcome the Attorney General, the Honorable Samuel Bulgin. Mr. David White, Temporary Minister for District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Honorable Tara Rivers, Minister for Financial Services and Home Affairs. Honorable Joseph Hugh, Minister for Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure. Deputy Governor, Honorable Franz Manderson. His Excellency the Governor and the Premier, the Honourable Alden McLaughlin, will be arriving shortly to take their salutes. The Honourable Chief Justice Anthony Smellie. Ladies and gentlemen, the parade has assembled, so please refrain from crossing Heroes Square. Not only are today's celebrations live on Radio Cayman, it is also aired live on Cayman 27. Honourable Dwayne Seymour, Minister for Health, Environment, Culture and Housing. Honourable Tara Rivers, Minister for Financial Services and Home Affairs. The official parade today is made up of representatives from the Royal Cayman Islands Police Band, a detachment of the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, a detachment of the Cayman Islands Fire Service, detachment of Her Majesty's Prison Service, detachment of the Girls Brigade, detachment of the Scouts and Cub Scouts, a detachment of the Cadet Corps, and Seventh-day Adventist Pathfinders. Announcing the arrival of the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Mr. Anthony Ennis, along Albert Panton Street.
Hey! Red, cut! Hey! Stand up! Hey! Stand in.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please stand for the arrival of the Speaker of the House, the Honourable W. McKeeva Bush.
Ready! That is! That is!
You may be seated. Honorable Juliana O'Connor Connolly, Minister for Education, Youth, Sports, Agriculture and Lands. All rise for the arrival of our Premier, the Honourable Alden McLaughlin and Mrs. McLaughlin.
Ready!
That's right, and we're actually also waiting on His Excellency Governor Martin Roper and his wife Elizabeth.
And the newly appointed governor, because he's going to be our governor for the next
That's
4 years
right.
now.
He was made substantive, and he will be fulfilling a full 4-year term as governor. And Gafari, you know what's really exciting? He's been hitting the ground running with an
Yes.
Instagram account.
Yes. All right. The Premier's car has arrived, and I believe they're just reversing out now so the Premier can get out of the car.
That's right, and he'll be accompanied by his wife.
And after the Premier and the governor, then the ceremony will begin.
We just also want to remind the viewing audience that this year is rather different. We're going to be celebrating the creation of the coat of arms.
Definitely 60 years for our coat of arms.
60 years.
Which is an amazing milestone. And here's the Premier. As you can see, he's walking in. He is escorted by, I believe, the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Mr. Anthony Ennis.
Shoulder! Arms! Order! Arms! Stand up! Easy! Stand easy.
All please remain standing for the arrival of His Excellency the Governor, Mr. Martin Roper and Mrs. Roper.
So there you have it, His Excellency Governor Martin Roper and his
Accompanied
wife,
by his wife.
Mrs. Roper. They
It is a
look
lovely
rather
day.
dapper.
They do, and it is a lovely day. I mean, despite the wind, and it's hard to keep your hat on today, but it is definitely a lovely day.
Yes. And as we just mentioned, you know, he has been confirmed, and he
Yes,
has
he
said
has.
that he's so pleased for this confirmation.
Soldier! Up!
His Excellency the Governor, Martin Roper, making his way to the center of Hero Square.
Royal salute! Reason! Up! Shoulder! Up! Order! Up! Your Excellency, the parade is formed up and ready for your inspection, sir.
Right now, we are seeing His Excellency Governor Martin Roper being inspecting.
He's inspecting the color guard, yes. Now, Shonda, I remember I used to be a police officer as well, and I remember actually being part of this parade many years ago.
And you know, I as well. I was a part of the Pathfinders Association, the Seventh-day
Wow, so
Adventist
we're
Church.
both familiar with this parade.
And I think this is the most exciting part
It
for
is.
the governor is just
It is.
seeing the uniformed services just look bold and just the colors are so bright. And there's that national pride.
It is. And you know, kudos to all the people in the parade. They're perfectly still. They're very professional. They're taking this, you know, very seriously. You know, and this is just a great day celebrating Caymanian culture.
That's right. And right beside His Excellency Governor is Inspector Mr. Courtney Miles.
Yes. He is leading the color guard. I used to work with Mr. Miles. He's a great police officer, as are all the people in the RCIPS that, you know, dedicate their time and their life just to make the streets of Cayman safe.
Right. And you know what's very interesting also, Kafar, is that we're seeing some new recruits.
Definitely.
More
We
and
have
more
about
Caymanians.
20-something new recruits.
That's correct. More Caymanians being a part of the force. It's a beautiful sight, and it was just so, I'm grateful to be a part of this, and we're also grateful to bring you the sights and sounds of this morning's ceremony. And that music, Kafara, that is the band that you're hearing.
They're doing an awesome job. Look at this. I believe they're expecting the scouts now. I mean, awesome. These are just the young people of Cayman, and they're just, you know, they're...
So once again, we have the RCIPS, Fire Service, Prison Service, Girls Brigade.
We've got the Scouts, the Cadet Corps, and the Seventh-day Adventist Pathfinders.
Shoulder! Up!
His Excellency the Governor is making his way to the stage where he will present the proclamation to the Speaker of the House, the Honorable W. McKeeva Bush. The Honorable Speaker will then issue the proclamation to formally open National Heroes Day. Please remain standing.
We're all standing by for the official opening of National Heroes Day 2019.
Hey! Stand that. Hey! Stand.
Hear ye, hear ye all citizens, residents and visitors to these Cayman Islands. Whereas on the 27th day of January 2003, in the year of our quincentennial celebrations, this plot upon which we are presently met was proclaimed as Heroes Square, a sacred place of honor and esteem dedicated to the endeavors, sacrifices, contributions, and achievements of the Caymanian people. And whereas the Wall of Honor and the statue and monument and cultural icons within this hallowed square all stand in remembrance of and in tribute to those who helped to build these beloved Cayman Islands. Now therefore, we the government and people of the Cayman Islands give notice once again of our determination today and on National Heroes Day in every year hereafter to acknowledge with gratitude and pride the endeavors of our people to pay tribute and respect to their sacrifice in a way that will forever be impressed upon our hearts and our country as we continue to uphold our values and steadfast dedication to our coat of arms pioneers and to celebrate and honor our heroes' contributions and achievements. And in furtherance thereof, we hereby give notice on this day, the 28th day of January 2019, and every occasion of the celebration of National Heroes Day hereafter, that recognition by way of commendation and award and honors and the laying of flowers may be conferred on not only honored but ordinary citizens as shall be deemed deserving thereof. Proclaimed in the presence of all gathered here for this purpose of Heroes Square in Georgetown, Grand Cayman, this 20th day of January in the year of our Lord 2019, in the 67th year of the reign of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. We will now have a procession of school children waving the Cayman Islands flags in a display of their national pride. Today, there are about 200 children from preschools, primary and high schools in the Cayman Islands. Please remain standing. Ladies and gentlemen, please give them a round of applause. We hope this involvement in our most significant national event will increase our children's civic pride and patriotism to our Pearl of the West Indies. Please stand at attention for the breaking of the Union flag, Cayman flag, and Celebrate Cayman flag, followed by the national anthem, God Save the Queen, sung by Mr. Rudy Miles.
Right, cut! Shoulder, up! Royal salute! Reset! Up! God save our gracious Queen. Long live our noble Queen. God save the Queen. Send her victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the Queen. Shoulder up! Order up! Standard is. That is it.
Do remain standing as Miss Lavon Ryan prays for our islands.
I have a confession to make. As I woke this morning in Cayman, my home, at 4, I realized that the weather wasn't really a good flying time for our Saab. So I looked through my porch window and saw the clouds and heard the wind howling, and I said, oh Lord, I don't have to confess it to him because he knew it and knows it now. But I say to you, if I didn't love my people and didn't count it an honor and such a distinct honor to be here today, to pray to my King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and yours also, I would say, well, I think Mr. Alfonso will have to get somebody else. But I have promised God many, many years ago that I would serve him. I'd do the best I can for him. And today marks one of the times when I said, Lord, it is in your hands. And I'm going to tell you that when we got halfway, I held on and said, Lord, I'm sure you want me to get to Grand Cayman. So it was rough. And you can tell the pilot that, but I told him thanks, sent thanks to him and already sent thanks to God Almighty. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. And for all of our people, we love you, but we love God even more. And I hope you do too. Let us pray. Our eternal God and Heavenly Father, it is with the greatest honor of approaching the throne of grace through Jesus Christ, our blessed Redeemer, this morning. With thanksgiving, Lord, to you who has created our islands. And Lord, you have blessed our people, our country immensely For this, we give you thanks this morning. We thank you for our government. We thank you for our people in a whole and all of those who have come and made it their homes. And we thank you for the privilege and the freedom that we have and liberty of still praying to Almighty God publicly and privately. Lord, we thank you for our people. We thank you for the way that you have led our people. And as we look back and think of our forefathers and those who took the brunt of making these islands what they are today, we bow before and we humble ourselves, for we realize, Lord, that without your help giving to them, they could not have brought us thus far. We thank you for these later ones. Thank you for all those who have gone in and made these celebrations possible. Thank you for all those who have labored and served, and many have passed on. Many gave their lives in service to their country. And for this, Lord, we thank you, because you are so good. You are so wonderful. You are the one who gives us all great and wonderful things. And today, Lord, we give you thanks. We thank you for those who have stood the storms of life and gone through, and we still have some, praise the Lord, who are still holding the banner high. So today, Lord, we give you thanks and praise, and we ask that your will be done in every one of our lives. And Lord, the call is still here. Jesus Christ is calling us and beckoning to us as a people, as a nation, as individuals, Lord, how we need your divine guidance, your divine help, your Holy Spirit to lead and direct our people. And we have to confess, Lord, that we wandered too far. Help us, Lord, to make a right about turn, return to Father's house, renew our vows, and make the Cayman Islands even greater than they are now, because without the help of God, without your guidance, your protection, your provision, none of us would be here. But we are here, Lord, and we are enjoying and being able to enjoy from day to day the good mercies, the compassion, and graciousness of God. Lord, we ask that you would bless every individual, every child, every young person, every adult, all of our government, Premier, Deputy Premier, Honorable, all the different, those who are sitting in Parliament, and those, the MLAs, and all of the ministers and all. We ask, Lord, that you would keep your hand upon them, and most of all, Lord, help our country to keep close to Jesus Christ. You said we should seek first the kingdom of God, and all other things will be added. Help us, Lord, to be reminded every day that it is you that have brought us this far, and where we could have been but for the grace and mercies of our Almighty God. We thank you and we praise your name, and we ask, Lord, that everything today will be to your honor and glory, for we pray in the matchless name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Miss Ryan. The more she prayed, the brighter the sun started to shine. My goodness. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the parade will now be leaving Heroes Square. Please remain standing.
Hey! Red, set! Faster! Up! Right and move to the right, advance! Right! Hit!
halfway with the opening ceremony.
The sun is out and the flags are flying high. We are
And the breeze is still blowing. That's the most important part. It can get pretty hot here. We're live in Georgetown in Heroes Square
for the Heroes Day 2019 celebration of the creation of the coat of arms. We're so glad that you're able to join us, our viewing audience. And if you still, there's still time to come on out and be a part of this
but
ceremony
if you can't
here.
make it, definitely tune in. We will be broadcasting everything live. So just, thank you for tuning in.
Once again, Cabinet has approved this 2019 theme, celebrating the creation of the coat of arms. So that's one thing we want to make mention is it replaces the previous theme that I believe was honoring the pioneers in maritime heritage.
Yes.
And I believe that will take place in 2021, that theme, the pioneers in maritime heritage.
Well, that's definitely something we look forward to as well.
Yes, but for now, we are taking time out to honor and recognize our vestrymen and the justices of the peace here in the Cayman Islands who were instrumental in getting into place the coat of arms of the Cayman Islands. Now, I believe we're going to go into the welcome by the Celebrate Cayman chairman, Alfonso Wright.
Yeah, he's the executive chairman of Celebrate Cayman, and he's one of the people responsible
I now
for
invite Mr.
planning the
Alfonso
celebration,
Wright,
planning all of the
executive chairman of
Cayman
Celebrate
Celebrate
Cayman, to
Coat of
deliver
Arms
welcome.
events all throughout the year. That started off last year.
That's right.
I wish you all a very good morning. I am honored and take great pride in welcoming you to the 2019 National Heroes Day celebration. This is a very important day in which we can reflect on the individuals of past and present whose hard work has helped to create a better country for us all. For this reason, I believe it is fitting that the celebrations of our island's heroes be joined together with Celebrate Cayman, a national celebration of the 60th anniversary of our coat of arms and culture, history, and people of the Cayman Islands that it represents. To mark this very special anniversary, a year-long calendar of activities, initiatives, events, and experiences were developed with a mission to educate our community, provide an opportunity to celebrate our country's diversity, and inspire national pride. Our mandate from the Honorable Premier was to reach all the people throughout the Cayman Islands with the story of the coat of arms. The aim to engender national pride. Soon you will hear more about the history of the coat of arms and the visionary elected officials who did the hard work to ensure that our visual identity was created. Indeed, the creation of the coat of arms was the starting point of a wave of change and progress that helped to develop the modern-day society we all know and love. Sharing the story of our beloved coat of arms has not only served to enlighten and educate our communities, but most certainly succeeded in engendering national pride. The creation of Celebrate Cayman will in time prove to be significantly prophetic and of great value to our three islands and its people. Celebrations began on the day of the coat of arms anniversary, 14th of May 2018, when a government delegation led by the Premier hosted an evening reception at the Foreign and Commonwealth Office in London. Event organized by the Cayman Islands Government Office in the United Kingdom under the leadership of Representative Eric Bush served as an opportunity to highlight the close links between the Cayman Islands and Britain. With Cayman music, food, traditional arts, and small businesses on full display. Here at home, the anniversary was marked with the draping of the Government Administration Building with the Celebrate Cayman logo, our Legislative Assembly, which is right here in front of us, the Cayman Islands Museum, the District Administration Building in Cayman Brac soon followed. A few weeks later, in early June, the public was invited to the lawn of the Glasshouse Building for an official launch ceremony where the royal warrant was unveiled and read to the public. A similar ceremony was held in Cayman Brac in September at the District Administration Building. In the summer, a special festival was held along Harbor Drive where residents and visitors enjoyed a variety of culinary delights, arts, craft, children's activity, and traditional game zone, and a historical display. The night sky was filled with bright and colorful fireworks display, and 9 local bands provided live music performances to entertain the crowd of over 2,500 throughout the festival. In the fall, celebrations moved to the Sister Islands for the Black Heritage Autumn Festival. At the festival, Celebrate Cayman presented a gospel concert entitled He Hath Founded It Upon the Seas, a name inspired by the country's motto, which is featured on a coat of arms. Like the local culture, food has been an important part of the Celebrate Cayman initiative. In October, Celebrate Cayman partnered with the Cayman Islands Tourism Association for Restaurant Month, connecting local diners with participating restaurants through tasty tropical trivia. And in addition, the ties between the Cayman Islands and Jamaica were celebrated at a special dinner held at the wharf. The gathering featured a menu in which the pineapple was a star ingredient, as it holds great significance for both countries and is present in both islands' coat of arms. To honor Cayman Thanksgiving in November, Celebrate Cayman took inspiration from United States President Thomas Jefferson, who pioneered the art of dining with intention, with the beloved table dinner, which encouraged members of the public to lead a meaningful conversation about the Cayman Islands' future while enjoying delicious local food. Between the in-person farm-to-table dinner at Cayman Cabana, local meal boxes prepared by Foster's Food Fair, and self-catered meals, nearly 300 people participated, including a group of 50 in Northside, hosted by the Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Ezra Miller. On Cayman Thanksgiving weekend, Celebrate Cayman supported local farming and agriculture by providing shoppers at the Georgetown and West Bay Farmers Market with environmentally friendly shopping bags featuring Cayman Thanksgiving and Celebrate Cayman branding. Last month, Celebrate Cayman partnered with the National Museum to curate an exhibit which takes a look back at the history of the coat of arms and the individuals who helped to make it a reality. The stalwarts we honor today. The exhibit is still running, and I encourage each one of you to visit the museum to experience it for yourselves. I should mention that the traveling display, which made its way across all 3 islands, is housed in the Georgetown Library, especially for our celebrations today, and you can view it immediately after the ceremony. Other highlights of Celebrate Cayman initiative include the issuance of a commemorative stamp with support from the Cayman Islands Philatelic Bureau and a silver $5 coin. The coin issue was completely sold out within 48 hours of arriving on island, the fastest selling coin in the history of the Cayman Islands Monetary Authority. While Celebrate Cayman honors the achievement of our past, it also celebrates our present and strives to inspire our future. Our school children have shown great interest in our initiative, and their participation has been phenomenal, so much so that we have had difficulty in keeping with the requests for presentations and engagements. We have refused none. Our youth have also been given an important voice through Thatchrope Times. The special publication will feature the coat of arms as interpreted through the eyes, minds, and hearts of our students. The publication is co-produced by Celebrate Cayman, the Ministry of Education, the Department of Education, and schools across the Cayman Islands. Presented in partnership with the Caymanian Times, it will be issued in January, March, and May of this year. The students are excited to see their work of art, essays, poetry, and other contributions in print. Celebrations will continue over the next few months until July, when Celebrate Cayman will shift its focus to celebrating the 60th anniversary of the granting of the first Constitution in 1959. Celebrate Cayman has been a wonderful opportunity for the community to come together and foster national pride. Our journey has been an exciting one, and one in which those of us who are charged with carrying the message also continue to learn. The high level of engagement from the public through the various initiatives of Celebrate Cayman has truly been remarkable. We have witnessed simple curiosity transformed to deep levels of hunger for more historical and cultural information about Cayman, not limited to our beautiful coat of arms. It is our sincere hope that every person in the Cayman Islands will continue to interact with Celebrate Cayman initiatives in ways that are meaningful to them, resulting in a deep and long-lasting connection and appreciation for the Cayman Islands and our culture. Our duty now is to continue to fan the patriotic flame that Celebrate Cayman has ignited in our people. I challenge each of one of you here to do your part to ensure that this spirit lives on. I acknowledge with great pride the high level of support and sacrifices made by the other team members of Celebrate Cayman, Marzita, Cara, and Christy. I sometimes get asked, Alfonso, how do you survive being surrounded by three powerful and independent women? I say, when it gets unbearable, Jana comes to my rescue. Julia and Tammy are next on our list, as is my nuclear option, Mr. Rose. Thankfully, he has not been deployed yet. My profound thanks go out to the many organizations who have supported us and worked with us from the very beginning. It is not possible for me to mention every single person. However, I must say a special thank you to the Cayman Islands National Museum and curator Deborah Barnes-Tabora, who has done so much for this cause. Also, special thanks to the Cayman Islands National Archive, Edlin, Gina, Jana, Frank, Fisher, Karen, Roy, Cabinet, and the Cabinet Office staff. And of course, thank you all for joining us today as we honor and celebrate our national heroes and the pioneers who built the foundation on which we stand. Friends, our culture will survive and thrive if and only if we embrace it. Thank you.
That was Mr. Alfonso Wright, Executive Celebrate Cayman, giving the welcome there.
And a very good welcome. And coming
Thank
up
you,
next, we have the Honorable
Alfonso.
Dwayne Seymour.
I now invite the Minister of Culture, the Honorable Dwayne Seymour, to deliver his remarks.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being so patriotic and braving the weather this morning. Give yourselves a round of applause, please. Yeah. It is a pleasure to once again be here in Hero Square together in the spirit of unity and patriotism to remember and honor our beloved national heroes as one of the most anticipated events in our annual calendar. Today serves as a time to pay tribute to outstanding individuals in our community whose works and actions have contributed greatly to our islands and have created a legacy upon which we can stand and to which we aspire. National Heroes Day is always also a wonderful opportunity for us as a community to take a pause from the demands of our daily lives and reflect on the rich heritage and culture that has defined and united us as Caymanians. As Minister of Culture, it warms my heart each year when I see our community enjoying the cultural experience this ceremony provides, listening to our talented local musicians, eating our delicious cuisine, and taking pride in the achievements of our people, because those are the things that make us great, and that is what we celebrate today. In 2019, we recognized the pioneering vestrymen and justices of peace who had such a bright vision for the future of our small island that they saw the need to create a visual identity for the Cayman Islands. Little could they have known just how significant that act would be and just how much the Cayman Islands would grow and the significant role we would play in the world. While we reflect and honor their wisdom and achievements, let us also celebrate the excellence that exists within our community today so that the new pioneers may be inspired to play their part in the continued growth of our country. On behalf of the government and Ministry of Culture, I extend sincere thanks to all those past and present who have contributed to the development of these islands. We could not do this without you, and thank you for your contribution and support. Thanks be to God. It is indeed a pleasure and honor for me to be here. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Minister Seymour. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we will now have a musical selection by the Georgetown Primary School Choir.
And we have the Georgetown Primary School Choir. They're going up to the stage. Many of them, Shonda, still have their Caymanian flags there, waving their Cayman flags with pride.
That was rather short remarks from our Honorable Minister, Dwayne Seymour, but it was short and sweet.
It was short and sweet. Short and sweet, and now it's time for the Georgetown Primary School Choir. They're going to give us a special selection. It doesn't say what song they're singing, but I guess we're all in for a surprise to find out.
So this is once again the Georgetown Primary School Choir. They're going to be giving us a musical selection. Cayman Islands coat of arms.
Yes.
And to mark the occasion, there has been a year-long calendar filled with activities, as Mr. Alfonso Wright
There has been, and this is the
explained.
culmination of all those activities during National Heroes Day.
That's correct. And they've been focused on engaging and educating and inspiring
Yes.
The people of the Cayman Islands and giving us and establishing a spirit of cultural community and just having us to learn more about our colorful Cayman Islands history and national pride. I think you see more of that here for the 2019 Heroes Day celebrations.
Definitely. And these children, they still have their Cayman flags with them, and they're, just setting up and getting ready to give us a great performance. I mean, the audience is here. Everybody's looking really enthusiastic, coming out to celebrate the day. The sun is finally shining.
Yes.
But the good news is the breeze is still blowing, so it's not really too hot out here in Georgetown.
That's correct. And some of what you can look forward to for the rest of the program, we'll definitely be hearing from Premier the Honorable Alda McLaughlin with a keynote, and we'll also be looking forward to a special tribute. We don't want to give too much away,
Yes.
but we'll definitely be giving there'll be a special tribute by the Cayman Islands Scout Association.
But then, of course, we'll have the Celebrating the Coat of Arms Pioneers and presentations of awards from 1956 to 1958 for the vestrymen and justices of the peace that have, contributed to Cayman.
And we also want to also mention that there will be the laying of wreaths in
Yes.
remembrance of our national heroes and our nation builders.
And coming up, we'll also have the recognition of coat of arm architects. That will be done by the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Ezra Miller.
Farah, you also mentioned a little earlier that there'll be a special National Heroes Commemoration and Founding Organizations recognition. I believe there'll be over 50 organizations, maybe over 60 organizations being recognized, those that have been here for 50 plus years.
Mm-hmm. And a big thank you, I think it all should also be mentioned to all the organizers that, this is obviously a very time-consuming process to put so much detail in it. So a big congratulations for everyone who was, behind setting up the ceremony today. And it's a perfect day and it's a perfect ceremony.
Yes, they were very confident that the weather would change in favor for this morning's program.
Yeah,
so.
it was a little bit, I wasn't so sure this morning. There was some rain, but now, the sun has come out and the breeze is still blowing.
And the flags are flying high. We have
Yes.
3 flags, which includes the Celebrate Cayman flag.
Now, I think the Georgetown Primary School Choir, they should be ready shortly. I think they're just doing a quick mic check. Oh. We're still waiting for the Georgetown Choir. It looks like they're almost ready. They're going to be giving us a performance really soon.
I think the students were just thrilled to stand up here for the stage, but we don't want you all to see just the back of their heads, so we're going to have them turn around and sing for us here this morning. There's one of these students, I'm not sure if you can see, she's actually on crutches and she has a boot, but she's come out here on this public holiday to sing for us. So ladies and gentlemen, again, please give a round of applause for the Georgetown Primary School Choir.
All right, Shonda, they're just about ready to go. They've actually turned around, so now they're facing the crowd.
All right, I think they're going to get them to be in the center so we could see them all.
Yes.
And all with their Cayman flags. And the audience is giving them a big round of applause too as well. All right,
Once
they're just
again-
arranging the mics right now.
That's right. And once again, we just want to remind you that this year's celebration is being hosted by Premier, the Honorable Alden McLaughlin, along with Minister for Culture, Honorable Dwayne Seymour, and the Celebrate Cayman Committee. This ceremony this year is serving to pay tribute to our national heroes, important nation builders, and honoring outstanding individuals in our community whose works and actions contribute greatly to our islands.
Yes, and we'll have the over 60 founding organizations. They'll also be recognized for their 50 plus years of service to the Cayman Islands. 50 plus years in business, which is amazing.
Wow.
And of course, following the awards ceremony, the public, everyone here, and if you guys are at home, you can still come out and join us for that. The public is invited to the Coat of Arms traveling exhibit, which will be housed in the Georgetown Library, which is right behind us. And the main exhibit is currently open at the National Museum until 2019. Have you seen the exhibit yet,
I
Shonda?
have not, but I'm
I have
looking
not
forward to it.
either, so I think after this, we can just go back there and check it out.
Yes, and don't forget there's going to be lots of food and entertainment. It still continues.
It still continues. So, if you missed the ceremony, there's still a chance to get on out here, and you definitely don't want to miss, the after party.
The after party. And I think they're just ready to begin. I really love when we include our young people in the celebrations because it just gives them an opportunity to learn what this all means.
Definitely, and it helps in, giving them a sense of national
Hear all
pride.
your little voices loud and clear up here. Look
And I'm
forward
sure
to
this is
hearing
something
your
that they're going to remember for when they get older and say, oh yeah, I remember when I was
they're
part
like
of
us.
this. I know. When we're part of the award ceremony.
Yes, the cameras are now on you. Your quiet director is telling you. The cameras are on you straight ahead. The Georgetown Primary School Choir.
right. That was
Kapara.
awesome.
What do you say about that?
That was the Georgetown Primary School Choir. They did a fabulous job. Definitely worth the wait.
Yes, they actually performed a song by Lauren Daigle, I Will Trust in You. A beautiful,
It's a beautiful song, perfect for this occasion. Just great job, great job. Now coming up next after this, I believe we have the National Heroes Commemoration and Founding Organizations Recognition. That's going to be done by the members of the Legislative Assembly.
Georgetown Primary School Choir. It was a delight to hear your beautiful voices here this morning. Now we will have the commemoration of our national heroes and recognition of some founding organizations. Each year at National Heroes Day, we speak about and commemorate our national heroes. A national hero is a person who is admired and acknowledged for their courage, outstanding achievements, and noble qualities. A national hero is someone who is beyond that, has made significant positive contributions to the growth and development of society, and represents all of us. To know our national heroes is to know ourselves, our values, our collective history, who we are, and what makes us proud to be Caymanian. Honoring our heroes is an acknowledgement of who we are, our history, our heritage, and our culture. During the reading of each brief national hero's bio, notable contributions in particular industries and sectors are often highlighted. Industries and sectors that are the cornerstones of our society. This year, between the bios, we'll be recognizing some organizations that have been serving the Cayman Islands for over 50 years. In highlighting these organizations and industries, we are celebrating our collective journey to modern-day Cayman Islands and their shared role in our way of life today.
Our first national hero, the Honorable James Jim Manoa Borden, was a charismatic trailblazer. Mr. Borden was a visionary leader who directed Cayman into an era of progress through modernization. As Minister of Tourism and Aviation, he was instrumental in establishing Cayman Airways and constructing Owen Roberts International Airport. Mr. Borden's dedication to this country will forever be remembered with a statue here in Heroes Square.
The tourism industry of the Cayman Islands is an important economic driver that leads to job creation and national development from which we all benefit. In 1964, there were 7,000 air arrivals at the 10-year-old airport. Some 55 years later, the Cayman Islands saw record-breaking numbers with over 410,000 visitors arriving by air and 1.9 million by sea. It is clear that there is strong demand for the Cayman Islands tourism product amongst travelers across the globe. In addition to the strategic leadership of the Department of Tourism, this performance would not be possible without the partnership of stakeholders who exemplify our Cayman-kind spirit. We are pleased to recognize some of those stakeholders in our Cayman Islands tourism sector. Captain Marvin's Water Sports, Director and President Ronnie Anglin. Cayman Brack Beach Resort, Manager Craig Rowland. Cayman Turtle Center, Managing Director Tim Adam. Seco Rent-A-Car System Limited, Managing Director Lee Foster. Owen Roberts International Airport, operated by the Cayman Islands Airports Authority, Chief Executive Officer Albert Anderson. Reef Divers, Manager Craig Rowland. Southern Cross Club, Manager Jennifer Mills. Sunset House Assistant Manager Leona Baker Thompson. Cayman Airways Limited, represented by Fabian Worms, Chief Executive Officer, and Mr. Edwin Bousset Nixon, who has been an aircraft mechanic with the airline since its inception in 1968 and is currently the airline's longest-serving employee. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to these stakeholders. We invite them all to make their way to the stage to receive recognition by Temporary Minister for Tourism, Mr. David White.
Thank you again for tuning in to the special coverage brought to you by Cayman 27 for National Heroes Day.
Once again, we are in Heroes Square and we are celebrating the coat of arms. Right now, we are recognizing over 60 founding organizations recognized for their 50 plus years of service here in the Cayman Islands.
And today it's all about celebrating Cayman culture, celebrating the people that actually help make this island, our islands, the most beautiful islands in the world, in my opinion, Shauna.
I have to agree with you on that one.
Maybe we're a little biased, but yes, this is paradise.
That is Councillor David White standing there.
Yes, and coming up we have the CEO of the Airports Authority, Mr. Albert Anderson.
Once again,
the founding for the awards.
Once again, the founding organizations who played an important role, a significant
Definitely.
role in making, like you said, what our islands are today.
No. And just after this presentation, we still haven't heard from the Premier yet. So the Premier, the Honorable Alda McLaughlin, will be presenting our keynote presentation.
And we just want to remind you that the team behind Celebrate Cayman, they have organized initiatives and events all year round.
All year round. And, kudos to them. This takes hard work.
A lot of work.
I mean, I do event planning sometimes, and I know how exactly. It's so exhausting.
It is. And what they've been doing is not only educating the public, but also providing an opportunity to celebrate the country's diversity and national pride.
And organizing events such as this. This is the culmination of all their efforts that they've been working on from last year.
And I believe this wraps up the founding organizations with 50 plus years of service here in the Cayman
Please give another
Islands.
round of applause to our tourism stakeholders.
And that was for all of our tourism stakeholders who have made a difference in our community.
National hero, the Honorable William Warren Connolly, was best known for his prominent public service and political career that spanned over 3 decades. While in government, Mr. Connolly helped set in motion some of the country's key legislation, including the 1972 Constitution, the Companies Law, and the 1975 Planning Law. Mr. Connolly established the Department of Tourism and later received the Silver Thatch Award for his services in tourism. His entire political career was voluntary, and his selfless contributions to this country will never be forgotten. After retirement from government service in 1976, he re-established his legal practice, later Rich & Connolly, where he worked until retirement in 1997. Active in the community, he was a founding member of the Cayman Islands Law Society, the Chamber of Commerce, and was a director of Caribbean Utilities Company from inception. It doesn't matter what your industry is or what business you are in, support is key. Support from like-minded people can help you find success. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce was established in 1965 by 10 visionary business and civic leaders representing the various districts in the Cayman Islands to serve as a collective voice of businesses in the islands at the time. The Chamber of Commerce has since grown to an organization that represents more than 600 organizations and associations across all industry sectors in the Cayman Islands, including telecommunications and utilities. Although the Cayman Islands may well look small on a map, our islands enjoy some of the highest standards of utilities and telecommunications in the Caribbean. We are well connected to the outside world. We are pleased to recognize the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Chief Education Officer Will Pinot, Caribbean Utilities Company Limited Vice President of Operations David Watler, Flow Interim Managing Director Danielle Tatham, Home Gas Company Maxine Bodden, Cayman Brac Power and Light, Billing Supervisor Estella Ryan. Ms. Ryan has been with Cayman Brac Power and Light for 30 years. I invite Councillor Barbara Connolly to the stage to present these recognitions.
Well, we have more awardees coming to the stage. Right here we have Mr. Will Pinot from the Chamber of Commerce accepting his award.
And then I believe you're also seeing some representatives from the Caribbean Utilities Company,
Yes.
CUC.
And what they're doing right now is recognizing the businesses that have been in the community for over 50 years and, just to thank them for all the contributions they've made.
And the awards are being presented by Councillor Barbara Connolly.
Yes. And of course, you are tuned in to our National Heroes Day coverage brought to you by Cayman 27 as we celebrate our Caymanian heroes, our Caymanian businesses, and Caymanian culture and Caymanian pride.
And we will also be recognizing our
Again, please give them all a
vestrymen
round of
and
applause.
justices of the peace.
The Honorable Thomas William Farrington was an outstanding citizen and a great contributor to the Cayman Islands community. Mr. Farrington was a man of immense wisdom and sincerity, especially in matters involving his beloved district of West Bay. He entered the public service in 1921 and still remains the longest serving representative in the Legislative Assembly with 55 years of service. The first elected member to be responsible for finance, Mr. Farrington was also the first Caymanian to be honored by Her Majesty the Queen as a commander of the British Empire. Mr. Farrington was named Father of the House, both for his lengthy continuous service and for the wisdom and insight he displayed in matters of public interest, including education. During the 1940s, he supported the establishment of what is today the John Gray High School. From the preschool to the university level, the Cayman Islands offer a range of quality education for all. Government, private, special needs, and faith-based curriculums are all available. When it comes to education, the key objective is always to continue on an upward trajectory and achieve ever greater outcomes. The ultimate collective aim is to provide an internationally recognized standard of education that develops our young people academically, emotionally, and socially. We are pleased to recognize some academic institutions that have been nurturing students in the Cayman Islands for over 5 decades in the classroom, as well as organizations that have been committed to safely transporting our students there. Cayman Academy, Principal O'Neill Duncan. Cayman Prep and High School, Chairman of the Board of Directors, Ormond A. Williams. Triple C School, Principal Mabel Richardson. Truth for You School, Edna Guia. Smith's Transport, Taryn Smith. Whitaker's Transportation, Managing Director, Winsome Hill. I invite the Honorable Minister for Education, Ms. Julianne O'Connor Connolly, to make presentations to these organizations.
And we have another set of presentations here. The Honorable Minister, Julianne O'Connor Connolly, is making them.
So what they're doing, Kafara, is this is the National Heroes commemoration. And between each highlight of our national heroes, they're presenting the founding organizations, those that have been here for 50 plus years. And we just heard from, or we just got some information from a national hero, Thomas William Farrington, who was heavily involved in education and the community. And so we're seeing a few representatives and actually some principals from schools and organizations that are heavily involved in education.
And they're just being acknowledged for all of their efforts, you know. I mean, obviously educating children and, you know, educating the future of the Cayman Islands, it's a huge task, and they definitely need to be, you know, recognized for all their efforts. It's definitely not an easy job.
And the awards are being presented by Education Minister, the Honorable Julianne O'Connor Connolly.
And we still have a lot more in store.
The Honorable Sybil Joyce Hilton was Cayman's first probation and welfare officer and served as a lifelong advocate for disadvantaged young people. Notably, she championed the need for a separate court of juveniles, served on the adoption board, and also helped develop the Scout movement in these islands. She received the Cayman Islands Certificate and Badge of Honor in 1968 and was named a member of the Order of the British Empire 10 years later. Education and youth development form the foundation of a prosperous and stable society. Youth development researchers and practitioners emphasize that effective programs and interventions recognizing youth strengths and seek to promote positive development rather than addressing risks in isolation. Youth who are constructively involved in learning and doing and who are connected to positive adults and peers are less likely to engage in risky or self-defeating behaviors. Providing the conditions for positive youth development is a responsibility shared by families, schools, and communities. The Cayman Islands is richly blessed to be served by many youth-focused organizations on a mission to help prepare our young people to meet the challenges of adolescence and adulthood and achieve their full potential through life skills, expeditions, camps, sports, and more. We are pleased to recognize the following long-serving organizations that support youth development in the Cayman Islands. The Cayman Islands Girls Brigade, founder and patron, Olive Miller, OBE. Cayman Islands Scout Association, Executive Commissioner Winston Hale. Cayman Islands Sailing Club, International Representative Eduardo Bernal. And the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award, Cayman Islands National Chairman, Catherine Jackson. I invite the Honorable Minister for Youth, Mr. Dwayne Seymour, to make these presentations.
Now awards are now being presented by the Honorable Minister Dwayne Seymour. We have Miss Olive Miller.
Wow.
I mean, she looks amazing.
Wow,
And the crowd is applauding. You know, it's It's just so good to see her out
Our
today.
ministry officials just gave her a standing ovation and a round of applause just for her presence. You know,
Yeah.
her presence alone
presence
is
alone.
remarkable.
And it's just really great recognition for her and all her efforts.
So we just read, or we just heard some information about Cayman's first probation and welfare officer and lifelong advocate for disadvantaged young people. That's Mrs. Sybil Hilton, national hero. And these are some of the organizations that
That
are
help her
heavily
legacy.
involved
That help her
in-
legacy.
That help her legacy.
And it's so important, you know, to target, to help U.S. children. I mean, like I've said it before, and I'll say it 100 times, you know, the children are the future of these islands. And if we see some children falling through the cracks who might not be learning the same way as other children, you know, they definitely need to be recognized and, you know, steered towards the right path.
That's right. And I'm so glad that we're able to recognize these organizations that have been here for 50 plus years, and they're still going strong and well
They're
supported.
doing so much for our community.
National hero, Dr. the Honorable Roy Edison McTaggart, was known as both a businessman and a philanthropist during a time when the Cayman Islands were at a crossroad. Dr. McTaggart was a politician of the finest caliber and served as a legislator for Georgetown for more than 35 years. He became a qualified dental surgeon at the age of 22 and was the only dentist in the Cayman Islands at the time. Dr. McTaggart is best remembered as the man who helped ensure the Cayman Islands remained a British crown to both tourism and financial services, providing the physical framework with which both can operate. At the same time, it contributes significant sums to the Cayman Islands government's finances and the country's economy as a whole. We are pleased to recognize the Cayman Islands' longest-running print media house and some organizations that have been key players in the automotive, construction, and real estate industries over the past 50 years. A.L. Thompson Jr., Cox Lumber Limited, represented by Linda Bush. Ms. Bush is the longest-serving employee with Cox Lumber Limited, having been with that company for 25 years. The Flowers Group, Anup Itwar and Frank Flowers. Invicta Construction, Director Kent Burke. Paramount Carpet Sales and Service Limited, General Manager Gary Rankin. Scott Development, Paul Scott. Pinnacle Media Limited, formerly Cayman Free Press and home of the Cayman Compass, owner David Legge. Stella Enterprises, Representative Thora Crichton-Bodden. Vamp Motors, Saxon Insurance, Ambassador Lisa Seymour. Saxon Insurance, as many of you all will know, was formerly Motor and General. Mr. Anthony Scott is here for Scott Development. I invite the Honourable Minister for Commerce, Infrastructure and Planning, Mr. Joey Hugh.
All right, now Minister Hugh is doing this set of presentations, and these are all businesses that have been in the community 50 plus years. We've got A.L. Thompson, Pinnacle Media, Cayman Compass. It's got a wide variety. Flowers,
Cox Lumber.
Yeah. And I believe
Vamp Motors.
one of the people we have on stage now is a 25-year plus employee. And that alone is amazing. You know, to be with a company for 25 years, that's a lot of dedication.
A lot of dedication. And our Deputy Executive Chairman for Celebrate Cayman, Marzita Bodden, just read another national hero, Dr. Roy McTaggart, Edison McTaggart, a pioneering politician, businessman, dentist, cultural guardian, and philanthropist. And I was just kind of listening to the bio, and it was talking about Barclays Bank. Kafara, I wasn't even born then.
No, now you're making me feel very old, Shonda. I'm just gonna, okay.
But that was amazing, and that's amazing when you can go back deep and rich in history and discover, you know, those establishments and organizations that truly made the difference and laid the foundation for the organizations and buildings that we're seeing here today.
And they're definitely getting recognized on this beautiful, beautiful day. There is still some breeze blowing while the sun is in full swing, I'd like to say. The sun is out in full swing, and it actually cleared up because I think a lot of people thought, maybe the weather wasn't going to hold up for today.
But it did, and it's a beautiful day. I love to see the blue and red and white.
I believe he said Fat Motors is now being recognized too as well for their services and contributions to the community for 50 plus years.
Please give them all a round of applause. The Honorable Orman L. Panton is described as one of the most prominent political figures in our country's history. Mr. Panton founded Cayman's first political party and was the first to win an election as party leader. As an outspoken attorney, Mr. Panton was the first Caymanian attorney to appear before the Privy Council in London. His professional skills, combined with his desire to help others, assured his success in many local trials. Mr. Panton was the youngest delegate to attend the historic West Indies Federation discussions. This very special son of Cayman enjoyed working and interacting with people of all backgrounds, having participated in many areas of community life. He was one of the first chartered Rotarians of Grand Cayman, and in 1984 he was honored by Queen Elizabeth II and became an officer of the Order of the British Empire for his contributions to society. The Honorable Desmond V. Watler was an exemplary citizen serving the community through Rotary and his church, and an exceptional civil servant for nearly 4 decades. Still today, Mr. Watler remains a role model for standards of civil service integrity and a shining example of how hard work, dedication, and commitment can take you to the top. Mr. Watler started as a 23-year-old clerk and rose through the ranks to become the first treasurer, a title that was later changed to financial secretary. He was also the first chief secretary, and he served in the Legislative Assembly for 32 years in every area of parliamentary administration. Mr. Watler regarded the provision of proper communications and the writing of financial services legislation as being key factors in the progress of the Cayman Islands. Back in 1960, the Cayman Islands could not have been further removed from its status today as a small but prominent global financial center. At the time, the Cayman economy still largely relied upon seamen's remittances, fishing, agriculture, shipbuilding, and handcrafts. Airline services were limited, and the tourism sector was in its infancy. The Cayman Islands' status as an international financial center derives from the foresight of some early legal practitioners and a receptive government who in the mid-1960s together drafted and enacted legislation. More than half a century later, the picture has changed dramatically. The rise of financial services, which first led to the establishment of a large banking and trust sector, then the development of captive insurance, and finally, the growth of the hedge fund industry, shipping and aircraft registration, as well as structured finance, is synonymous with the rise of Cayman's economic prowess. The financial services industry is the primary driver of our economy. The finance industry, together with related accounting and legal services sectors, contributed more than 50% of Cayman's gross domestic product of $2.6 billion in 2015. More than 7,600 people in Cayman work in financial services, accounting for more than 18% of employment. Most crucially, 62% of these jobs are held by Caymanians. While achieving its commercial success, the Cayman Islands has maintained a high level of integrity. It is recognized by the FATF as a leader within the Caribbean region in the fight against money laundering and adheres to all of the relevant international supervisory standards. We are pleased to recognize the home club of Honorable Ormond Panton and Desmond V. Watler, the Rotary Club of Grand Cayman, as well as financial institutions that have been providing banking and legal services on our shores for over 50 years. Appleby, Managing Partner Brian Hunter. Maples and Calder, Partner Matthew Gardner. Cayman Islands Legal Practitioners Association, President Alistair Robertson. Walkers, Cayman Managing Partner Tim Buckley. The Rotary Club of Grand Cayman, President Lawrence Edwards. I should note that today is the 53rd anniversary of the charter of the Rotary Club of Grand Cayman, being chartered on the 28th of January 1966. Butterfield Bank, Cayman Limited, Managing Director Mike McWatt. CIBC Bank and Trust Company, Cayman Limited, Chairman and Managing Director Dan Wright. RBC Royal Bank, Cayman Limited, Country Manager Melinda Gibson Nixon, and Scotia Bank and Trust, Cayman Limited, VP and Managing Director Dwight Burrows. I invite the Honourable Minister for Financial Services, Ms. Tara Rivers, to make these presentations.
All right, we have another set of awards being presented now by the Honorable Tara Rivers.
And we're seeing some representatives from Maples and Calder. We have Walkers,
Rotary Club,
we have
Butterfield Bank, CIBC. So this is banks, law firms, organizations that have been in the community, as we mentioned before, 50 years plus, and it's all part of our National Heroes Day celebration. While we celebrate also 60 years of the Cayman coat of arms. Now we're just about midway through the ceremony right now. I mean, there's still a lot in store. The Premier has not given his addresses yet, so I know the people are waiting to hear about that. And then in addition to that, after this is over, we've got refreshments, we've got food, we're going to have some live music after. So definitely, if you're still at home, there's still time to come out for the after party celebrations.
Yes. A long-serving employee of RBC Royal Bank.
And another long-serving employee here that is also, being asked to come up on stage and accept the award.
And we want you guys to stick around because I know you guys have been hearing me talk about the special tribute.
Special tribute.
You guys have to.
I mean, Shonda knows. I don't know what it is, so I'm just patiently waiting. But yeah, you definitely want to stick around, tune in and enjoy the ceremony from the comfort of your own home. Brought to you by Cayman 27.
The Honorable Mary Evelyn Wood was a true pioneer who dedicated her life to bringing change to these islands and addressing the needs of her community. In her early 20s, Miss Wood established a school serving as its sole teacher. She later became a trained practical nurse, providing tireless care around Grand Cayman, but notably during the typhoid epidemic of the late 1930s. By 1957, an interest in women's rights led her to join hundreds of other women in signing the petition of female suffrage of that year, now commemorated right here in Heroes Square. Women won the right to vote in 1959, and in 1962, Miss Wood became Bordentown's representative in the Legislative Assembly, the first woman elected to the House, and was also the first to serve on a jury. National hero, the Honorable Sybil Ione McLaughlin, continues to be a beloved and active member of society and a role model for many Caymanians today. Ms. McLaughlin received the country's highest honor in 1996, and her invaluable contributions to Cayman's parliamentary development as well as to community life. Among her outstanding achievements, Ms. McLaughlin was appointed the first Speaker of the Legislative Assembly in 1991. She's also the first female clerk of the LA in the Commonwealth. For much of the 20th century, women across English-speaking Caribbean countries did not have the right to vote and were largely excluded from national representative politics. When women were partially enfranchised, requirements were imposed for women voters that included age, income, property tax, and literacy levels that were more severe than those imposed on men. For Caribbean women to secure the unconditional right to vote, Starting in the 1940s, it took letters to the editors of newspapers, petitions to colonial governors, formations of women organizations, and street marches. Here in the Cayman Islands, women valiantly petitioned over a 10-year period for the right to vote. 60 years after women were enfranchised, strides towards the representation of women in political leadership continue to be made here in the Cayman Islands. We are proud that we have had significant female decision makers in the corridors of power, including 4 speakers of the House, councillors, and cabinet ministers. Not only did these women have incredible influence and impact in the Honorable House, they also served diligently in the House of the Lord. The Cayman Islands was settled by God-fearing people, and this Christian heritage and culture is deeply embedded in our way of life. Christianity was ingrained in society as early as the 1800s when Reverend Emsley traveled all over the island on horseback, by boat, and on foot, eventually planting churches in many settlements. Shortly after, the church began its ministry to champion education, taking steps to provide elementary education throughout Grand Cayman and to press the government to expand the education services across the country. Today, our Christian heritage remains the foundation of our society and a significant part of our national identity. Look no further than the Cayman Islands coat of arms, which features our island's motto, Psalm 24, verse 2, He hath founded it upon the seas. Today, we are proud to recognize some of the churches that have been a welcoming place of worship within our islands, along with an organization that has kept everyone looking razor sharp in their Sunday best. And we also want to recognize one organization that has helped many families over the years honor the lives of their loved ones as they make their journey to their heavenly home. Church of God Chapel's Chairman Pastor Sean Wright, Cayman Islands Conference of Seventh-day Adventists Executive Secretary Jefferson, St. Ignatius Catholic Church, parishioner at St. Ignatius Parish, Deanna LaCloy, the United Church in Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, moderator Reverend L. Christopher Mason, Wesleyan Holiness Church, Pastor Brenda Wallach, the Bosun Bay Presbyterian Church, Pastor Jason Knox, Puritan Cleaners Operations Manager Mowbray DaCosta, and Bodden Funeral, Pansy Anderson. I invite the Honorable Deputy Governor, Mr. Franz Manderson, to make these presentations.
All right, as you can see here, the Honorable Deputy Governor, Mr. Franz Manderson, is presenting. These are some churches. We have some businesses like Puritan Cleaners. We have churches like the St. Ignatius Catholic Church. Who else do we have, Shonda?
We have the Church of God Chapels, the Cayman Islands Seventh-day Adventist Conference. We also have Wesleyan, Bosun Bay Presbyterian Church, and Bodden's Funeral Home also represented here. And like Marzita Bodden said, we have to acknowledge this part of our culture and our heritage and our history. We have always had this Christian heritage.
Definitely.
And
it's
that's
something that we should be proud of.
Exactly. We have to be proud of
It's one
this.
of the foundations of this country, and it's just something that we definitely should be proud of.
That's right. And Marzita Bodden was actually reading Miss Mary Wood and how she was dedicated her life to bringing change to these islands, being the first woman ever elected to the Cayman Islands legislature, and also the first to serve on a jury. Definitely some groundbreaking achievements.
And a pioneer in her own right, So we're acknowledging our heroes, and we're also acknowledging the people that, follow in the footsteps of our heroes to keep their goals, their missions, their ambitions, their, just everything for Cayman just alive.
Once again, this is the National Heroes Commemoration and Founding Organizations Recognition. Over 60 founding organizations serving our country for 50 plus years.
Exactly. And it's all about celebrating Cayman, our 60 years coat of arms.
Many of you will agree with me when I say that gathering around a table to break bread helps to build community and strengthen families. It comes as no surprise then that the incredibly special connections within our Cayman Islands are often sparked and stoked by good food. From local farmers to home cooks to world-class chefs, our islands have risen to be recognized as the culinary capital of the Caribbean. Whether it's traditional local food, international fusion, or a combination of both, delicious experiences abound for all to enjoy. Food is a significant part of our local culture, and so we are happy to recognize a few organizations that have been pleasing our palates for over 50 years. The Cayman Islands Agricultural Society, George Smith, Foster Brothers Limited Managing Director Shane Foster, Hungry Horse Manager Wanda Thompson, Jake Scott and Company Limited, Peter Dutton, Kirk Market Director Jerry Kirkconnell, Kirkconnell Limited, Ms. Zita and Moses Kirkconnell, who are unable to be with us today, the Mango Tree, representative and daughter of the late owner Daniel Mike Simmons, Sandra Simmons Francis, Rum Point Club Assistant Manager Leona Baker Thompson, the Lighthouse Restaurant Giuseppe Gatta, and Lobster Pot Manager Niels Schultz Gatterman. I invite Councillor Austin Harris to make these presentations with support by Captain Eugene E. Banks. Councillor.
That right there is Councillor Harris, Austin Harris, presenting the awards for this set of organizations we have. And these are the
special
organizations
list of nominees
that have, as Marzita Wadden said, has been pleasing our palates.
It's actually making me kind of hungry, but coming up soon, we will have refreshments all down here in Georgetown Hero Square.
I can't wait. So we have some representatives from the Agricultural Society, Foster Brothers Limited,
Hungry Horse, as well as Kirk Market, Jake Scott, Kirkconnell Limited,
Mango Tree, and Lighthouse Restaurant.
And Lighthouse Restaurant, definitely.
Lighthouse Restaurant.
And these, of course, are being presented by Councillor Austin Harris.
They're mentioning a few of those establishments that I have enjoyed just having,
throughout the
sitting and
years.
having some wonderful food.
And once again, you are tuned into the National Heroes Day official coverage brought to you by Cayman 27. We're celebrating our heroes. We're celebrating Cayman's coat of arms. We're celebrating businesses that have been in the community for 50 plus years. It's just a great day of celebrations.
And Kafara, just want to also mention that it is a public-private partnership this morning.
Yes.
And so we also want to acknowledge Government Information Services and also working on behalf of the Cayman Islands Government Radio Station.
Definitely, Radio Cayman and GIS. And it's all about partnerships here too as well. So we're
That's right.
celebrating partnerships in the community, in our broadcast community.
And the beautiful Cayman Islands as well.
Definitely.
Of course, after the ceremony, which has become tradition, we can all enjoy some local food after the ceremony is done. That's something to celebrate for sure. We hope that you have found the brief bios of our amazing national heroes and some glimpses into our island's incredible journey across many industries over the past 60 years enlightening. We have so much to be proud of here in the Cayman Islands. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I now invite the Premier of the Cayman Islands, the Honorable Alden McLaughlin, to deliver his address.
Thank you, Marzita. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming out despite what indicated it would be a very rainy day. Indeed, up until after 8, I was on the phone with the organizers led by the Cabinet Secretary and the Chief of Protocol, deciding whether or not we should have a wet weather event and move to another place. But I was persuaded, not because I know much about the weather
or that I have any control over it, that this would be 18 of these celebrations that we've had here. And even though the weather has threatened before, we've always managed to get through it. And so I told them to have faith. And here we are. Whether the weather be good or whether the weather be bad, we'll weather the weather, whatever the weather, and do it with hearts that are glad. I extend a warm Caymanian welcome to everyone. I thank each of you for joining me today on this National Heroes Day, where we are celebrating the creation of our coat of arms. I also especially welcome our most recent governor, Martin Roper, and his dear wife, Lizzie. This is their first celebration. I hope they are enjoying it. I must admit, my heart was filled with pride as I watched those precious children walking past while waving our flag and hearing the national anthem. These are meaningful symbols of who we are as Caymanians, as is our coat of arms. And it is so important in a country that has seen the level of immigration that we have had over my lifetime, that we make an extra special effort to pass on our history, our heritage, and our traditions to our young people and our children in particular, but also to those who have recently joined us. It was the conferral of our coat of arms that began our incredible journey as 3 small islands in the Northwest Caribbean that have emerged from relative obscurity onto the world stage. Last year, we observed the 60th anniversary of our coat of arms and heralded the return to these islands of a very special part of our history, the Royal Warrant, which was conferred by Her Majesty the Queen on the 14th of May 1958, but had been lost in the fire that destroyed the former government administration building in 1972. When we examine the storyline that bridges the gap between Cayman's earliest settlement and our rapid ascension to becoming a world-class leader in financial services and tourism, the conferral of the coat of arms arguably represents the seminal event that provided the catalyst that put the Cayman Islands on the path to modernity. It is indeed my distinct honor to share the story of how our coat of arms came into existence and pay homage to the many individuals who contributed to its development. The coat of arms is our first internationally recognized symbol of identity. Its rich imagery tells the story of who we are, our history, our culture, our earliest industries, our constitutional relationship, and our faith. Up until 1958, life in the Cayman Islands was summarized by the legendary phrase, "The islands time forgot." There were many who saw little by way of a future here and chose to migrate, whether to Central America, Isle of Pines in Cuba, the United States, or Jamaica. But many others remained, determined to stay and carry on while bravely facing the most difficult of circumstances. You see, those hardships forged generations of Caymanians, steeling their spirits and uniting their hearts in a commitment to succeed. And in the meantime, and along the way, producing legendary men and women of iron. It is important to note that at this time, we were constitutionally a dependency of Jamaica, which was itself a British colony. I always say we had the lowest form of constitutional status known in the Westminster system of government. We were a dependency of a dependency. Whilst domestic affairs were managed locally and trade routes existed with other countries, the administration of the Cayman Islands was overseen by a commissioner who himself reported to the governor of Jamaica. Then in the late 1950s, a man of vision arrived, Commissioner Major Alan Hilliard Donnell. Commissioner Donald is recognized for his central role in the development of the Cayman Islands' first national symbol, the coat of arms. Commissioner Donald would have seen firsthand the independence and ingenuity of the Caymanian people, despite their constitutional link to Jamaica, and recognized that Caymanian people clearly distinguished themselves from their neighbors to the southeast. Commissioner Donald put forward a proposal to adopt a coat of arms for the Cayman Islands, which was approved by resolution of the Legislative Assembly of Justices and Vestry on the 3rd of April, 1957. In what could have been one of Cayman's earliest examples of a public consultation exercise, on the 11th of April, 1957, Government Notice 33 of 1957 was issued, requesting all interested persons to submit design ideas and illustrations for the coat of arms. A deadline of 1st May 1957 was set. One design was submitted by an American residing in Cayman named James Jimmy Ford of the Yacht Club, Ports of Call. The submission assisted in the final design for the coat of arms. It is also believed that Commissioner Donald chose the motto, "He hath founded it upon the seas," from Psalms 24, as it reflected the Christian faith of the Caymanian people. On the 5th of February 1958, a resolution was moved in the Legislative Assembly by the Commissioner to approve the selected design of the coat of arms and to send to Her Majesty's government for approval. It gives me great honor to recognize Mr. Lindbergh Eden and Captain Owen Farrington, the two remaining living vestrymen who would have been serving at the time the resolution was moved in the Legislative Assembly. I believe I see Captain Owen in the audience. My grandfather, Alan McLaughlin, and my uncle, Rudolph McLaughlin, were also vestrymen at the time, a fact that only came to my knowledge after the tremendous amount of research done by Alfonso and his team. And therein, I believe, lies the great value of this exercise. We are discerning things about this country and our people which otherwise would be lost and forgotten. There were three key features the people of the Cayman Islands placed great value on and wanted represented in the final design. Those were the representation of the British connection, the representation of the sea as the home of Caymanians, and something to symbolize the three islands. Additionally, it was noted that for sentimental reasons, Caymanians desired to retain the thatch rope as part of the final design. The chosen design for the coat of arms for the Cayman Islands features a shield, crest, and motto, and incorporates important historical and indigenous features of the country. The shield features blue and white wavy lines representing the sea. 3 stars of green lined with gold lie atop the lines, depicting our three islands. The top of the shield features the British lion, symbolizing the Cayman Islands' connection to the United Kingdom. Above the crest are the arms elements of the coat of arms. The green sea turtle is a prominent feature, representing the island's original name, Las Tortugas, given by Columbus, as well as the turtle fishing industry. The turtle sits on top of intertwined bands of blue and white silk, representing Cayman's thatch rope making tradition. Above the turtle is a pineapple, which represents the connection the islands have had and still have with Jamaica. At the base of the shield is the motto, "He hath founded it upon the seas." On the 14th of May 1958, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II assigned the armorial ensigns to the Cayman Islands, bringing to life the first key symbol of national identity for Caymanians. The granting of the coat of arms began the process of formally distinguishing the Cayman Islands from Jamaica, and Cayman found itself at a crossroads with many choices to make. Once again, our community and leaders rose to the occasion, putting into motion a number of watershed moments in our history. The legislation that was adopted the choice to remain part of the United Kingdom when Jamaica chose independence, the receipt of our first constitution order, the granting of the right of women to vote and to stand for public office, and the introduction of our own currency were just a few of the milestones fundamental to the development of the Cayman Islands that we know and love today, all built on the foundation of the coat of arms. To commemorate the 60th anniversary of our coat of arms, Cabinet commissioned the Celebrate Cayman team to plan and bring to life the cultural celebrations over 2 years, beginning in 2018. Members of the Celebrate Cayman team are Executive Chairman Alfonso Wright, Deputy Executive Chairman Marzita Borden, Project Coordinator Cara Coe, and Events Manager Krista Watler. I thank them for their passion and commitment to preserving and promoting our heritage. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this is just one of the many events giving us another opportunity to celebrate Cayman. Throughout the remainder of this year and until July 2020, Celebrate Cayman will host many other events and educational campaigns focused on teaching the public about the Cayman Islands' important historical achievements. This year will be 60 years since women got the right to vote and to stand for public office. This year, 2019, will also be 60 years since we received our first constitution. This year also will be 100 years since the opening of the 1919 Peace Memorial known to us as the Georgetown Town Hall, where the seminal decision was taken to break with Jamaica and become a crown colony in our own right. We intend to celebrate all of these important events over the course of this year. Before I close, I want to let you all know that at Heroes Day 2020, God willing, we will honor those who were involved in shaping our first written constitution in 1959. Our pioneers in maritime heritage will be recognized at Heroes Day 2021. Thank you all for your attention. Thank you again for braving the elements. God bless you, and may God continue to bless and prosper these beloved isles, Cayman.
Thank you, Honorable Premier. I will now call upon the Cabinet Secretary, Mr. Samuel Rose, to announce the wreath layer segment. Wreaths will be laid at the various monuments here in Hero Square in honor of our nation builders and national heroes.
At this time, I call upon all wreath layers to come forward to collect your wreaths and proceed to the front of the podium, please. The wreath for national hero, the late Honorable James Manoa Borden, is laid by his great-grandson, Mr. Nathan Trumbach. The wreath for the Women's Monument, Aspiration, is laid by Mrs. Janalee Clifford and Miss Wanda Tatum. The wreath for Tradition Monument is laid by Miss Lucille Seymour in memory of her uncle, Mr. Peter Watson. Miss Carmen Godfrey in memory of her granduncle, Mr. Calvin Simmons Godfrey. Miss Andrea Borden in memory of her grandfather, John Crosby Walton, and Mr. Ernest Borden in memory of his grandfather, Mr. Charles Woodley Macfield. The wreath for the Catboat Monument is laid by Mr. Loxley Banks and Captain Joey Jackson. In recognition of Bordentown Nation builders, The wreath is laid by the Honorable Dwayne Seymour and Messrs. Alva Saku and Christopher Saunders, members of the Legislative Assembly. Mrs. Shirley Ann Tibbetts will lay the wreath in memory of her aunt and national hero from the District of Bordentown, the Honorable Mary Evelyn Wood. In recognition of Georgetown Nation Builders, the wreath is laid by our Premier, the Honorable Alden McLaughlin, the Honorable Joseph Hugh, the Honorable Minister David White, Councillor Austin Harris, Councillor Barbara Connolly, and Mr. Kenneth Bryan, member of the Legislative Assembly. Mrs. Kristen Watler Miller will lay a wreath in memory of her grandfather and the national hero, the Honorable Desmond V. Watler. Mrs. Sandra Simmons Francis will lay a wreath in memory of her grandmother and the national hero, the Honorable Sybil Joyce Hilton. Ms. Natasha White and Mr. Andrew Cayasso will lay the wreath in memory of their granduncle and the national hero from the District of Georgetown, the Honorable Dr. Roy McTaggart. And Mr. James Pineda will lay the wreath in memory of his grandfather and the national hero from the District of Georgetown, the Honorable Ormond Panton. In recognition of West Bay Nation Builders, the wreath is laid by the Honorable W. McKeever Bush, Speaker of the Legislative Assembly, the Honorable Tara Rivers, Captain Eugene Ebanks, Mr. Gene Hides, accompanied by his daughters, Hannah and Farah Hides, will lay the wreath in memory of his grandfather and their great-grandfather and the national hero of the District of West Bay, the Honorable Thomas William Farrington. In recognition of Northside Nation Builders, the wreath is laid by the Honorable Ezard Miller, Leader of the Opposition. And in recognition of East End Nation Builders, the wreath is laid by Mr. Arden McLean, Member of the Legislative Assembly. Mrs. Jackie Smelly will lay the wreath in memory of national hero from the District of East End, her late father, the Honorable William Warren Connolly. And in memory of the legislative body responsible for the creation of the coat of arms, Mr. Alfonso Wright, Executive Chairman of Celebrate Cayman, will lay a wreath. And finally, in recognition of Cayman Brac and Little Cayman Nation Builders, the wreath is laid by the Honorable Juliana O'Connor Connolly.
So there you have it, the wrap of the laying of wreaths in remembrance of national heroes and our nation builders.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please rise as we observe 40 seconds of silence to the memory of all our nation builders whose names are etched in the granite walls before us. Please be seated. We will now have a special tribute in honor of Miss Joanna Clark by the Cayman Islands Scout Association. We ask that all Scouts, past and present, to stand at this time. The Grand Howl. The Grand Howl is a special tribute salute to Akela, the leader of the pack. This also reaffirms the Cub Scouts' promise and commitment to do their best always and in all things. Normally, Akela would be in the center of the group, and so the significance of this tribute is that the Cubs are making their pledge. However, the center of the group is empty because their Akela, Miss Joanna Clark, is no longer with us. Please be seated. Thank you, Cub Scouts, for that touching and special tribute to the late Joanna Clark. And now we will have the presentation of awards to the vestrymen and justices of the peace who served during 1956 to 1958. I invite the Honorable Premier and members of the Legislative Assembly to present these awards. You are welcome to applaud after each name is called and as they are presented their awards on stage. Please use the assigned photography area to take photos. The Honorable Premier and Honorable Minister Tara Rivers will be presenting these awards. Area of West Bay, vestryman, Spurgeon Andrew Ebanks. Yep. It's big. Vestryman Captain James Cadian Ebanks. Vestryman James Stafford Ebanks Banks. Vestryman John Garston Smith. Some of you may be curious. The individuals representing each vestryman and justice of the peace are receiving a framed copy of the royal warrant and a certificate of recognition in honor of the recipient. Thank you, Minister Rivers. Honorable Speaker, please join the Premier to present to Justice of the Peace, Captain Charles Ebanks Glidden. Justice of the Peace, Honorable Captain Thomas William Farrington. Justice of the Peace, Thomas Abram Ebanks. They're going to take it from you over there. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Councillor Captain Eugene, please join the Honorable Premier. Justice of the Peace, John Samuel Smith. Justice of the Peace, Samuel Osbert Ebanks. Justice of the Peace, Lee Alfonso Ebanks. Thank you very much, Councillor Captain Eugene. The area of Georgetown, Minister Hugh. Vestryman Edgar Ducan Marin. Vestryman Honorable Ormond Lauder Panton. Vestryman Hugh Malcolm Coe. Thank you, Minister Hugh. MLA Kenneth Bryan, please join the Honorable Premier. Vestryman William Wallace Bodden. Vestryman Alan Berkeley Bush. Justice of the Peace, Captain Rael Brazeley Bodden Sr. Thank you, Emily Bryan. Temporary Minister White, please join the Premier. Justice of the Peace, Edmund Samuel Parsons. Justice of the Peace, Ernest Otti Panton. Justice of the Peace, Thomas Frederick Hill. Justice of the Peace, Major Joseph Rodriguez Watler. Thank you, Councillor White. Councillor Connolly. Justice of the Peace, Honorable Desmond Fair Watler. Justice of the Peace, James Ashford Panton. Justice of the Peace, Otto Gordon Hurlston. Thank you, Councillor Connolly. Deputy Leader of the Opposition. For the area of Savannah, Justice of the Peace, Emmis Mortimer Forbes. For the area of Bordentown, Vestryman William Benjamin McCoy. Vestryman George Hermodin Ricketts. Thank you, Mr. Saku. MLA, Mr. Saunders. Vestryman Harold Stewart. Vestryman Alfred Biddle Bodden. Thank you, Mr. Saunders. Honorable Minister Seymour. Vestryman James Lobner Berry. Justice of the Peace, Richard Philip Bodden. Justice of the Peace, Thomas Logan Bodden. Thank you, Minister Seymour. Mr. MLA Arden McLean. Area of East End, Vestryman William Allen McLaughlin. Vestryman Norman Rudolph McLaughlin. Vestryman Lincoln Benjamin Bodden. Justice of the Peace Austin Burns Connolly. Thank you, Mr. McLean. Honorable Ezard Miller. Area of North Side, Vestryman Kenneth Norman Chisholm. Vestryman Olney Albury Ebanks. Justice of the Peace Bertram Ebanks. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Councillor Harris. Area of Prospect, Alfred Lawrence Thompson Sr. Thank you. Vestryman James Carl Thompson. Thank you, Councillor Harris. Honorable Miss Juliana. Area of Sister Islands. Vestryman Captain Charles Gerald Kirkconnell. That's it. That's it. They look a lot alike. Vestryman Captain Keith Parker Tibbetts Sr. Vestryman Captain Robert Clifton Foster. Vestryman Arnold Athelin Foster. Justice of the Peace, Captain Edwin Ellis Walton, Jr. Justice of the Peace, James Nathaniel Tibbetts. Justice of the Peace, Aston Shedden Rutty. Justice of the Peace, Wade Taylor Foster. Justice of the Peace, John Cummins Lazary. Justice of the Peace, Captain Reginald Bloomfield Kirkconnell. Justice of the Peace, Lawford George Lawrence. Justice of the Peace, Dennis Haley Foster. Premier, please, you'll be joined by the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Speaker of the House, for our next two presentations. It is now my privilege and honor to recognize the only two living members of the 1956 to 58 Assembly of Justices and Vestry who will receive the Royal Warrant, framed certificate, and commemorative coin for the 60th anniversary of the Coat of Arms. Representing the area of Prospect, Vestryman C. Lindbergh Eden. Mr. Eden's award is being collected by Ms. Heather Bodden as he is unable to be with us here this morning. He is currently not well and we ask you all to keep him in your prayers. Morning. After. And representing the area of West Bay, Captain Owen Murphy Farrington. I invite Captain Farrington to say a few words.
Thank you, Madam. Good morning. Good morning. I think you've been welcomed a lot. But I'd like to say a welcome to those who have come from overseas to be with us today. I'm glad that you still love the island. I shall be very brief. But first of all, I want to ask you to remember in your prayer my colleague, Mr. Lindbergh Eden, who is in the hospital. In fact, he's been there since Christmas Day, and he's not doing well. I'm happy to bring you greetings from the islands that time forgot. At the same time, I want to congratulate all of those who contributed to the development of these islands since that time and change the caption to the islands that we'll never forget. From when the Justices of the Peace and Vestrymen agreed on what the coat of arms should look like until today spans 60 years. That 60-year journey was not without challenges, but through the grace of God, we arrived at where we are today. I need to remind you that the genesis of financial services industry was the Cayman seaman. I encourage you to read a copy of an address given by the then financial secretary, who since then became Sir Vassell Johnson. The address was given on September the 11th, 2011, at a memorial service we held for deceased Cayman seamen. I will speak to the President and Council of the Seafarers Association and ask them if they would allow this copy to be made available to those who may want to get a copy. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Captain Farrington. Today, we recognized the extraordinary contributions made to the creation of the Cayman Islands Coat of Arms by the 1956 to 1958 Assembly of Justices in Vestry. The people of the Cayman Islands are forever grateful to them all. Please stand at attention for the re-entry of the parade contingents as they march back into Heroes Square.
All right, thank you for tuning in, watching our Cayman 27 footage of the National Heroes Day celebration. We have our parade coming back to wrap up the festivities, and it's been a great day, Shonda. It's been an awesome day.
It's been an awesome day, and the parade is made up of various uniformed services. We have on our way the RCIPS, Fire Service, Prison Service, Girls Brigade, Scouts, the Cadet Corps, Seventh-day Adventist, Pathfinders.
And as mentioned before, they're all coming back in now to wrap up this great ceremony.
And it's being led by the official parade band.
Yes.
And I believe that is made up of various representatives.
So as you mentioned before, we've got the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, followed by the Fire Service, and I believe that's Northwood Prison Service, followed after that. And of course, this public holiday was all dedicated to our national heroes and celebrating 60 years of the Cayman Coat of Arms. And this actually gives us time, to pay tribute to our national heroes, our important nation builders, and honor outstanding individuals in our community whose works and actions contributed greatly to our islands over these many, many years.
As the traditional parade, as the uniformed services make their way here back into the center of Heroes Square, we will talk about some of the highlights of this year's parade and ceremony, but we just really wanted to highlight how amazing and remarkable Captain Owen Farrington is, and his presence being here, as he mentioned, his partner, Lindbergh Eden, was not able to make it. He's not well, but to hear from him and to give us his charge was really good, exceptional.
And we have the Girls Brigade. They just went by, followed by, I believe these are the Scouts coming up right now. This was just a fantastic job from everyone, everyone involved, everyone who planned, everyone who organized this event. It was just a fantastic job.
Once again, this year's ceremony was hosted or is hosted by the Premier Honorable Alda McLaughlin, Minister for Culture, the Honorable Dwayne Seymour, and Celebrate Cayman.
Please be seated.
All right, and you're watching continued coverage of our National Heroes Day celebration. The color party is back. And we're in the last half of our ceremony today.
That's correct, and I don't believe the party is over. There is
Definitely.
much
There'll
more
be
to celebrate.
entertainment and food coming up in just a short while as well. This is just an awesome thing to watch, the precision and, the dedication, all the hard work behind all of this. And coming up, we're going to have our national song.
The national song will be sung by Miss Erica Asai. She is a local artist, local singer, songwriter, and recording artist.
She's an amazing artist.
Yes, she is. And she will be accompanied by the Savannah Primary School Choir.
And they did a great job earlier on, so they'll be back. Sorry, that was the Georgetown Primary School Choir earlier, and now Savannah will be accompanying Miss Erica Asai. And you are tuned in live to our Cayman 27th National Heroes Day
I now
celebration.
invite the Honorable Ezra Miller, Leader of the Opposition, to recognize the Coat of Arms architects.
Good morning, everyone. Coat of Arms story, shared earlier by the Honorable Premier, is a fine example of power of conviction, collaboration, and vision. The 54 Westermen and Justices of the Peace rallied around the proposal to adopt a coat of arms, a symbol brought to the fore by three extraordinary people. It is my pleasure to recognize the architects of the Cayman Islands Coat of Arms. Reverend Arthur W. Saunders was a member of the Heraldry Society. Heraldry is a broad term encompassing the design, display, and study of armorial bearings known as armory, as well as related disciplines, together with the study of ceremony, rank, and pedigree. Armory, the best known branch of heraldry, concerns the design and transmission of the heraldic achievement, more commonly known as the coat of arms. The coat of arms usually includes a shield, helmet, and crest, together with any accompanying devices such as supporters, badges, heraldic banners, and mottos. Reverend Saunders spearheaded the development of the arms and crest. Reverend Saunders' work entailed translating the desires of the Cayman Islands people through the legislators into heraldic language. Though used as the seal of government and for special occasions, it is the simplicity of the coat of arms design that has gained it the most recognition. Today, we recognize Reverend Saunders' role in the creation of our beautiful coat of arms. James Jimmy B. Ford was an American businessman and owner of the former yacht club, which is the present-day site of the Wharf Restaurant on North Church Street. Mr. Ford is credited for his assistance with the final design of the coat of arms. While archival references to Mr. Ford are limited, living memory accounts indicate that he was a friendly person who spent numerous hours, mainly afternoons, at the government houses working on his design. Mr. Ford could also be found at the Yacht Club's bar, openly working on sketches of the design with his friends. This help was likely welcome, as Mr. Ford had the challenge of incorporating the desires and wishes of the Cayman Islands people while honoring the guidelines of armorial bearings stipulated by Reverend Saunders. Mr. Ford's time, dedication, and artistic contribution to the creation of our coat of arms is recognized today. Major Alan Hillard Donald served as Commissioner of the Cayman Islands from 1956 to 1960. The role of Commissioner gave way to Administrator and today Governor. Commissioner Donald came to the Cayman Islands from Basutoland, now known as the Kingdom of Lesotho, a British crown colony in southern Africa. During Commissioner Donald's administration, great strides were made, including in the field of education with the opening of the Cayman Islands High School. The high school was operated by the Presbyterian Church at the time. Today, we highlight his actions that gave birth to our first national symbol, the coat of arms. 1957, Commissioner Donald recognized the Cayman Islands' disadvantage on the world stage and put forward a motion to legislators for islands to attain world recognition as a semi-autonomous territory of the British Kingdom. On 3rd April 1957, Commissioner Donald's proposal to adopt a coat of arms for the Cayman Islands was approved by resolution of the Legislative Assembly of Justices and Vestry, the legislative body comprising the 54 men we recognized a short while ago. It is believed that Commissioner Donald also chose the motto, "He hath founded it upon the seas," demonstrating his understanding of the importance of both seafaring and Christian heritage to the Cayman people. The Celebrate Cayman team, with valuable support from the Cayman Islands National Museum and the Cayman Islands National Archive, has been able to unearth and put together several pieces of this puzzle in the Cayman Islands history with respect to a coat of arms. In addition, Celebrate Cayman has been able to very recently get in touch with relatives of Reverend Arthur W. Saunders, with the assistance of the Cayman Islands National Museum curator Deborah Barnes Tabora, as well as relatives of the late Commissioner Major Alan Donnell, with the assistance of Miss Liz Schofield. We are pleased and grateful that Charles Brian Donnell, son of the late Commissioner Donnell, and Charles's wife Amanda have traveled from the United Kingdom to join us to be a part of today's celebration. It is my pleasure to invite Charles Brian Donnell to join us on stage as we recognize the contribution, leadership, and vision of his father, the late Commissioner Alan Hillard Donnell, in the creation of the Cayman Islands coat of arms.
I will ask His Excellency the Governor, the Honorable Premier, the Honorable Speaker of the House, and the Lord Leader of the Opposition to make the presentation to Mr. Donald. Step forward. Yeah. Move forward. Move forward for the photo. Please move closer that way. Yeah, closer forward that way. Mr. Donald, I heard you wanted to say a few words. Is that the case? Okay.
Right. Stand. Hey. Not easy.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to say a few words on behalf of my dad. As soon as I can get, oh my goodness. I won't keep you long. You can rest assured. My dad loved Cayman. For him it was the ideal posting, I think. In fact, I'm sure. In fact, he's just told me that it was. We came here in 1956, having been in Africa, and we came here, and he'd been in the overseas civil service for Britain, and I think he felt this was just a lovely place to be. And whenever we would moved on to different places, he would kind of compare them to Cayman. And it doesn't take much to realize why Cayman came out on top. It was a lovely place, it is a lovely place, and it was a lovely place then. I'd like to thank you for inviting Mandy, my wife, and me to this celebration. we're very moved by being here, and it's just been a delightful occasion. Thank you very much. Oh, don't forget that. No.
In addition for it being absolutely wonderful to have Charles and Amanda here, they're also spending their 41st wedding anniversary here today in the Cayman Islands. So please stand for the singing of the national song, Beloved Isle Cayman, by Erica Asai, and she is accompanied today by the Savannah Primary School Choir.
Hey! Great. Cut!
Well, the National Heroes Day celebrations have come to an end. We are now waiting Miss Erica Asai, who will be singing our national song, Beloved Isle Cayman.
And again, she'll be accompanied by the Savannah Primary School Choir and Junior Hines. He is head of the music class there.
Reflected
How sweet thy shores to reach and find a welcome there. And then comes on the season of peace, goodwill to man. 'Tis then I love thee best of all, beloved I'll keep till verdant islands set in blue Caribbean sea. I'm coming, coming very soon. A beauteous isle to thee. Although I've wandered far, my heart enshrines thee yet. Homeland fair Cayman Isle, I cannot thee forget. Thank you. Today has been a celebration of our history and our heritage, and I hope you are all inspired for the future. Honorees, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this concludes our formalities for this year's Cayman Islands National Heroes Day celebrations. Today we made history as we honored those persons who have made extraordinary contributions to the creation of the Cayman Islands Coat of Arms, and we thank you. Please do remain standing for the departure of the officials, beginning with His Excellency the Governor.
Right. Up. Royal salute. Praise it. Up. Shoulder. Up. Order. Up.
Remain standing for the departure of the Honorable Premier.
Shoulder! Up! General salute! Reset! Up! Shoulder! Up! Order! Up! Hey! Stand. East! Not easy. Right! Right! Cut!
The Deputy Commissioner of Police now prepares for departure. Please remain standing as the parade marches off.
Right! Left! Order! March! Shoulder! Up! Move to the right and forth! Right! Hey! Forward left! Quick! March!
All right, well, this is it for our live coverage of National Heroes Day. Shonda, Radio Cayman, thank you so much for joining me today. You were a great co-host, and it was a great event.
It was indeed a great event, and we just saw the official departures of His Excellency the Governor, Martin Roper, and Premier the Honorable Alden McLaughlin, and now we are seeing the parade exit Heroes Square.